So actually what's crazy is that I don't want every video to go viral now, which is wild that I am saying that. I'm very strategic in like what I want to go viral versus
I want to cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
Because there's a term that has been said about, I believe, 9 times so far. It went viral. What's the definition for people listening? It's like, hey, I had 40 people watch this. Hey, I had 1 million. What's the definition of I posted versus it went viral?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Influencers, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry technology, and services to help you be a mortgage influencer in your mortgage business. Okay, welcome to another Wednesday, which means it's another Mortgage Influencers podcast. And hello, everyone. Ginger Bell here. We have Scott Shang. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
And Steve Richmond is actually with us today. Woo!
Happy to be here.
Very good to see you. And we have a special guest too. I'm just going to hop in because before we went live, we were already starting in with so many exciting things. So Theoni, hello.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. So if you're not following Theoni, you need to follow her. She is Theoni the Lender, and you can follow her on TikTok, on Insta, on Facebook. That's her handle and everything, which I love because it's all the same. But I'm going to hop right in because if you want to find out how to really influence on social media, Theoni is honestly that I think you're the top in our industry. Not just because you've gone viral so many times, because everybody always like, I want to go viral. How can I do that? But because you are truly an educator. So let's just hop in. Your last video went viral 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell us about that video.
Okay. So, first I want to start by saying that this summer I've been really, trying to dive into like what works, what doesn't work, which has been like really interesting. And so one thing has been like consistency for me on TikTok. And so this video was after months of consistency. I mean, I think I was posting at one point, like twice a day, at least once a day though. And so this video was just me in my car, talking to the people who are waiting for the crash to happen. And it was just, I started recording, put it on my little stand. And I was driving home from work, I think, and I had like 5 more minutes to my drive. And I was like, well, people are going to wait for the crash to happen. And so I'm just going to tell them what they need to hear. And that's, if you're waiting, you have to save a ton of money. And then obviously like I've gotten really good and better about how to deliver what I'm trying to do. And so towards the end of the video, I think that video, when it went viral, got me 268 leads in a month, which is pretty cool.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
back it up just a second here. So first of all, guys, it's not just one video. That one particular video was one that slipped into going viral. But the consistency, and that's the key, is truly the science. And Scott, you are a scientist in studying things, and that's really what it is. So it's not just a matter of saying, gosh, I think I'm going to try this a little bit, or I've done 5 videos and I'm not getting any leads. And I've talked to people that are like that it's like, I've done it for 2 months and I'm not getting anything. It's like, no, it's being a student, right? And so
it's actually a formula from the 1600s. It's called the Pareto distribution curve. People also know it as long tail. It's that little swoop. You get that one video, but you did 100 of them. Right, but that one video does more than the other 100 combined. It's definitely a science. No, and Theoni, you absolutely nailed it. You figured it out, but at the same time, you're also figuring out best practices and your skills, and you're kind of identifying, like when you see one spike, you're like, okay, what was different about that one? Can you talk about that a little bit? Because you're a scientist too, clearly, and you've kind of figured this out. What kind of things have you identified that like now you do on every single video just to give it a better chance?
So actually what's crazy is that I don't want every video to go viral now, which is wild that I am saying that. I'm very strategic in like what I want to go viral versus
I
what
want to cut you off real
Yeah.
quick. Because there's a term that has been said about, I believe, 9 times so far. It went viral. What's the definition for people listening? It's like, hey, I had 40 people watch this. Hey, I had 1 million. What's the definition of I posted versus it went viral?
Yeah, that's that's up to I feel like that's not really I don't know if there's a definition really. For me, when I say going viral, it means like over 100,000 views, because I usually get like anywhere between 5 to 100,000 for most of the videos I post. And for that, some people think that that's viral for them, which is great. I mean, think about just even 2,000 people in a room. If you get 2,000 views, that's a lot of people. So, I mean, it's different for everybody. But when I say going viral, I just mean like upward, we're getting to like the millions of views. Or like
Now we can answer Scott's question. I just wanted to know, because you even said it. Everybody has their own definition. So I wanted to know what yours was.
Yep. So yeah, that was it. But yeah, so not every single one of my videos do I want it to get to that point. So now I've kind of figured out my delivery is that I hit people's pain points right away with no filter. And so excuse my language here, but I will say things like buying a house is really fucking hard. And people are like, is she in real estate saying that right now? And I get their attention so fast. And then I kind of walk people through like what you're feeling if you're buying a house or if you're not buying a house is valid. And you should be like, it is crazy to buy a house right now. But like, if you are looking to buy a house towards the end of the video, I've now gained your trust because I understand your pain point. And so that has been huge for me, is just like identifying pain points and just getting right into it. Like knowing exactly what they're feeling and just saying it as a statement and then explaining myself later on.
So do you get off the call? Do you get off a call with a borrower and like, and say, man, I've heard this twice or 3 times now. This is going to be a video. Like,
Yes.
where do your ideas come from? Do they come from conversations with your audience?
Yeah, they come from conversations, and they also come from my comment section. So I think I've talked about this a few times while I've even been on this podcast, but my comment section, like if you guys are ever needing content, go on my TikTok and go on the comment section and go answer people's questions, because there's so many, and there's things that sometimes I'll make a video and I'm like, wow, I really explained buying a house for the second time and how that works really well. And then there are still like 15 more topics that people ask about. Well, what about this? Well, what about this? What if it's out of state? What if it's in the same neighborhood? All the things. And so I will never run out of content because of my comment section, but really also the conversations I have with people too.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
that's
want
kind of the viral piece too, is that user generated content, right? Like that's
Mhm.
like, once you get to that point, your audience drives the conversation.
Right. Yep.
I have a content question.
Mhm.
Do you purposefully have a mix between X% business and Y% non-business?
On TikTok, no. On TikTok, I just recently actually wrote an e-course on this. TikTok is my lead gen, and Instagram is my nurture, and like I have a kid and I post him and I live at the beach and like get to know me really well. So TikTok is just like, if people pay for Zillow, I do it with my time. Like it is just strictly lead generation. So I am just lead generating in from TikTok, whereas my Instagram is a little bit different of a content.
Well, and I want to dive into, because a couple of things. First of all, you talked about an e-course, and so you have done an e-course now. Thank you for that. And I know you can expand from that because there's so much you can teach with it. And so I'll at the end ask where we can find that and everything. I think you probably have that on a website. Is that right? Or yeah.
Yep.
So go ahead and say that now. I'll ask you again. So if you want to take Theoni's e-course on how to do TikTok, where can they find that at?
So it's in the link in my Instagram bio, or this is super fun too. If you comment on any of my posts or any of my stories with the word daddy, you will get a link to it as well.
Okay, good. So let's talk about that, because that's something you did. And I think you started off with not your grandfather's
Yeah.
lender and then switched it to, I think
Not
we
your
had
daddy.
talked about, yeah, father, and then you said daddy. So it's not your
Yeah.
daddy's lender.
Yeah.
And that's the thing when you're talking about branding. And you said that because you cuss in your videos. I've seen your videos where you've got your sisters in the car. And I think you had one that I loved, which was you asking your sister, who I think is in middle school or something, about, getting a mortgage or, financing or things like that. And so, you are real and your brand is you. And you said that unfiltered. So how do people get over that fear of being themselves? Because I think that's what holds a lot of people back. It's like, how
Yeah.
do I do that?
One thing that I always say is that you're doing a disservice to your clients and your referral partners by not showing up. And so I think when people
Mm,
think about it that way, the fear kind of diminishes, because it's like, for what? What is the fear for? Because if you really care about your service and what you're doing and helping people, then you not showing up is doing a disservice, because they want to hear from you and you're just simply not showing up. And especially in our business, I mean, real estate agents as well too, but specifically loan officers, if you're not showing up every day for your business, who is? Because it's not anybody else, it's not your company who you represent or represents you. You're showing up for yourself. It's like not going to work every day. And so once you do it, it becomes such a habit that you'll think back when you haven't, in this place, if you haven't started yet, and be like, I can't believe that I did my service or my company or my business or my referral partners such a disservice by not just showing up and letting them hear what I have to say. People just think it's too oversaturated, but there's only one of you. There's only one of me, and so there's only one of you guys. So just go on there and post, because you're doing a disservice if you don't, or if you wait.
I love
I'd
that.
love to add on to that real quick. And this is going to be a comment to Scott. Everything that she just said screams about AI, because I hear all these different people say, oh, just go to AI and it'll write the presentation for you. It'll write your comments for you. It'll write what you should be posting online. And Theoni's like, you can get some information there, but you still have to show up and be yourself and be authentic. So
Yeah.
I'm just screaming, you got to do both. And we have the person right here who's showing you how to do that.
Yeah. I love
Well,
that.
having your personality in there, I talk to people all the time. It's like, okay, well, can I get AI to just do the video for me? Can I just get, it's like, no, you have to show up.
Yeah.
So the other thing, and you and I had a conversation, and I know Danny who's watching, and I know Danny's another individual who is killing it on TikTok and Instagram. And one of the things that he said, and I've heard it from you, is you don't call real estate agents at all. So let's unpack that. So your business is not calling real estate agents. You're not making cold calls. You're not doing any of that, right?
No.
So walk me through a day for Theoni.
Ooh, a day. Well, every day is different, because we
Yes.
do some of the daily success plan, the DSPs and whatnot. Just like the Wednesday cold calling is more my social outreach instead.
Okay.
So I'm looking to always collaborate with agents who align well with the way I do business on social media, and then use their platform to also grow my platform, but also to gain that relationship with them. And so it's a little bit different in terms of like how I work with real estate agents, but yeah, I mean, my goal is it's direct to consumer. And then recently I have found that, just like a lot of us probably on here, our referral partners are starting to leave the industry, as lenders are as well. And so I got to a point where my top 2 agents in Florida left the industry. And so I was like, hey, I've never tried this before, but I'm going to get on TikTok and I'm going to let people who follow me let me know about the agents they worked with. And if I like them, then we'll work together, which is crazy, because that's like not how this works, usually in a conventional point of view from a loan officer. But I did that, and now I have one that I really like in Florida now, and I'm meeting with them for the second time this week. It's like weird that I'm interviewing them. But I mean, but I gave it, I mean, I've just, like I said, I've been in this experimental range. And so while I'm not picking up the phone and calling agents every week, I have a lot of outreach from them. And then I see if we vibe, if it makes sense, like if that partnership is there. Because I also have a lot of agents that I like here that I work with in Delaware enough to ask them to get me a referral and let them kind of do the figuring out that whole thing. And if I vibe well with them, then that gives them money and it gives me a stronger relationship with them.
I love that. And really by doing that, asking, and I mean, asking your clients, you know, who do you like? Who are you working with? That completely changes that call that you're making to a real estate agent. And you say, hey, listen, Scott told me to call you. And I don't know if we're going to be a fit or not, because I like working with agents that do a lot on social media. You know, I like, so yeah, reverse engineering that to where you are interviewing them now to where they're wanting to do business with you and they're seeing you and things like that. I want to switch off of TikTok for a little bit and the social media and talk about some of the other things that you're doing, because, and this is one of those things, guys, follow Theoni. If you want to follow, if you want to get good at something, follow the leaders. And so see what she's doing. But one of the things you're doing a lot of open houses, and they're fun open houses because you're almost doing them like a social hour, right? So tell me about those.
Yeah. So lenders, we have boring jobs. Like we just sit behind a laptop all day and run numbers. Like that's not beautiful. It's not sexy. It's not fun. Even if you take it to the beach, it's not cool. So one thing that I have recently done for my content, a little selfishly, is showed up to open houses as a content day. And so this works really well with brokers opens. If anybody needs ideas on why they should pick you as their lender, I have the ability to, my husband's in real estate marketing too, so I bring him along, and that open house is then treated as like a content shoot. Plus, if somebody walks in and we get business from it, great. But at the end of the day, it's for content, and that's kind of the goal. And we know we're going to get content out of it, and people love houses. And so I'm just giving people what they want to see and making my profile a little bit more attractive with the house postings. And I get to meet other agents too, who are actually looking to grow in social media and get ideas for their listings as well.
So how do you approach the listing agent on that? Are you telling them, hey, can I come out and do a content day? What's that conversation look like? Do they know, or
They
do you
know.
show up? Okay.
A lot of them know. So I started doing them for like my really good agents down here. And once I did a couple with them, it just, people were like, who is this chick who's doing stuff for your listing? Like, why are these things happening at your open houses? Like, how are you doing TikTok trends, you know? And then I just would get DMs, or if I see, honestly, if I see like a really nice listing, I will maybe reach out to that agent myself and be like, your listing's not getting the attention that it should. Like we're talking $3-4 million beach houses that you're getting, you know, your third time price reduction on. Like, let me help you out and let's create some content here. And for you, your brand, and also obviously your sellers would appreciate that too. So I've only done that like 2 or 3 times, but locally, once you start doing a couple, they get traction really quick because nobody else is doing TikTok trends in a listing video.
My
When you say
question then,
TikTok trends, what is it that makes it a TikTok trend? I'm not on TikTok. I'm an old guy.
Like most recently, it's been Kyle Toomey, who's like a really awesome agent out in Northern Virginia, started doing this thing that there was like a really pretty instrumental song that Gen Z was using to like dance through things. So like through a pretty restaurant or through the beach. And he used it and said like, hopefully Gen Z sees this so I can sell my listing. And it was him like dancing like a fairy and jumping up and down in his listing, and like really quickly so that you could actually see the listing, but it's him running through the house. And then that like caught on like crazy, and he got millions of views. He ended up selling it like in 2 days or something crazy. And so that became a trend. And then I did that recently with one of my friends, Sarah, who had a beach house down here, and she was in like a really pretty beachy dress with no shoes on because it was a beach house. And so when she did that, it got a ton of attention because people were like, you know, nobody else is doing that for beach houses down here.
So somebody else is recording.
Yeah, I was recording her
Okay,
going through. Yeah,
very cool.
And are you on your phone recording that?
on my phone.
Okay, so you don't, even though you bring your husband in and he does, you don't have any special equipment, you don't have
Right.
anything. Do you use a gimbal?
I have a gimbal and I'll use it if I'm trying to do more like luxury shoots. So like different types of videos. But if we're just talking TikTok or Instagram, even the sounds are way easier to record in the app to like line up with what you're trying to do. So like, let's say it's a voice thing that you're trying to line up and it's somebody else's voice that's a trend. It's much more easier to just go on the app and record it straight from your phone than it is to try to line up the sound in your camera roll and then like bring it in and make sure that it works. So a lot of what I do is just in app. Philip comes in, my husband, when it's like, we also offer headshots, professional headshots, videos for you. So like you pulling out a mug from a listing, opening up a door so that you have it for your brand, that he'll use a like professional camera for, but most of the other things are just for my iPhone.
And the
We've-
quality on the iPhones are, I mean, they're good. The key, and I think you had posted, stop doing listings on your iPhone.
The 0.5 zoom. Oh my God. No. If I see, so if you guys, my husband, Philip owns Azure Media is his Instagram. He will find listings, and especially down here, talking about disservice to your clients, especially down here, we're talking like $3-4 million beach homes on the beach. And it's agents that come in and do 0.5 zoom. Like you guys know, like this, the 0.5, because they're
Mhm.
like, oh, I want to just capture everything. And I'm like, stop. And so he'll post them and say, we're talking $3 million that you're trying to list this house and you're using 0.5. Like you can't use a nice camera to really showcase the beauty of this luxury beach home on the water. Like it's crazy. But yes, those need to stop. And I'll call them out every time I see them.
I love it.
That could almost be a channel of its own.
I know.
Bad
I know.
listings.
The terrible listing of the week.
We're talking video. You said when I reach out to my clients, when I reach out to different real estate agents, forget social media. How much are you using like FaceTime video or talking to people on video, or are you just using regular old phone?
So my system for how I bring in leads, my husband and I recently made our own CRM. So that has the ability to do video and it'll pair up with Teams. Not everybody has Teams though. So a lot of times I will just call them. So my leads will be call. Anytime I talk to an agent, I'm super like nonchalant. Sometimes I even just go to Instagram video and I just FaceTime. Like if we're having a conversation in DMs and I just want to talk to them about something, I just click on the Instagram video and it's just like a FaceTime, but in the app. So that I'll do with my agents who I have at least talked to once over the phone and have built that, that they're cool enough to like even know how to answer it. But after I figure that out, then I will utilize that a ton, and even group videos too.
The reason behind my question was, you're saying, hi, I have millions of people seeing me by video. So people do what? They can now relate to you and they know that they have that video relationship with you. So I was wondering if that transfers over and you continue to use video on the one-on-one. And
Yeah.
You said you did.
Yeah. And usually a lot of those will actually convert a lot better too, because people, they like to, obviously you guys know, they like to see you, they like to hear you. And then if you see them back, then you're kind of, they feel like an obligation to want to work with you even more because they now know they know that I know what they look like. So it's this weird.
So to everybody listening, I don't want to do video. It works. Well, I'll do video on social media, but I don't like calling people on video. It works. Look, we got the expert right here.
Yeah.
And being casual about it, I think is important. Okay, so let's talk about it works. And go back to what we started with, which was the viral video, which had 1.6 to date. This is the third viral video that I know you've had over the last period of time. 200 and how many applications?
268 leads.
268 leads. 268 leads that didn't cost her anything other than her time and her commitment and her expertise and showing up. So from those 268 leads, those are people who want to, at some point in time, buy, that you will nurture. And that's part of it too. It's like, and I think we forget in our industry, it's the long game. This is not something that it's like you're looking for it today, you're looking for it today. And if you are, then this is not for you. This is one of those things that you will continue to build this relationship. And from that, map out, 260 leads, over 260 leads, you're going to look at if you can pull half of that and fund half of that, or not even that, let's just say 10%.
Yeah.
If you can fund 10% of that, over the next year. So, that's averaging, what, 5 a month, roughly, a little less. So that's not a bad business at all. And that's just from one video that went viral, but it's the consistency. And that's the key. And I want you to hear this for those of you who are doing video, whether it's a podcast, whatever it is, it's the consistency of showing up and being yourself. And that's what I love about you, Theoni. I'm so excited about your e-course. There's so much more you can share. You are an educator. I've told you too, I want to see you on stage. I know Danny, who's listening, did his first live presentation for NAM. I know you were at a wedding, so you couldn't go. We were going to get you there. But if you're listening to this and you're looking for somebody to speak to your audience, whether it's your company, whether it's your association, whatever that is, about being a leader, Theoni would be someone that I would definitely get in touch with to do that, because you're just getting started, girl.
Yeah, I'd love
Okay.
it.
So we're going to wrap this up. I want you to leave our audience with your, top, if there's one thing they need to do today to be able to really leverage connecting and showing up, what would that one thing be?
On social media.
Yeah.
If you haven't started yet, just start, because it's going to suck. You're going to suck at it really bad, and just embrace it, because you can't get good unless you suck. And if you need inspiration, just go look at my videos from 2 years ago on TikTok, and they were cringy. I can't look at them anymore, because I've gotten to a point where I keep them for inspiration for others, because I hate them so much. And so now I can speak to that. But I started because there's literally no time than the present. And unfortunately, in a market like right now, if you're not building a brand now while it's slow, you're certainly not going to once it picks back up. And you might not even, it sucks to even say, but some people might not even make it, because on the other side of this is going to be the people who did post every day. And there's somebody out there that is posting every day that's not as good as you, taking the market share that should belong to you, just because you're too scared to show up. So just start and get the sucky part out of the way.
I love that. Great advice. Okay. So if you want to follow Theoni, go to Theoni the Lender. If you want, and I'll get the link, Theoni, for your e-course, and I'll drop it in below. But if you go to your Insta, or if you just comment Daddy, DADDY,
On anything.
On anything that she has, she'll send you the link to register for her course. I think it's what, how much is it?
97.
97. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
for now.
That's right. For a limited time only. Awesome. Theoni, thank you so much. We always love having you on, and great advice. So for those of you who are following us and listening live, next week on Wednesday, we have a very special guest, Tim Brahim. And this was before your time. For those of us who have been in the industry for a long time, Tim was the founder of Loan Toolbox, which, talk about an educator, Theoni, you need to make sure and hop on that one, because he is like you, who has an educator heart, and started Loan Toolbox to help loan officers to be able to do education. So he's going to be our guest next week. Super excited about having him on. Scott, you're not going to be able to be on. I know you're doing a podcast yourself. You have to see if maybe you can move that a little bit, but we'll see.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I can't
So
wait to
good.
see Tom. Tim, it's been so long since I've talked to him. I'm really excited about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Good. Good. So make sure and hunt for that. And Theoni, thank you so much.
Thank
You
you
guys
guys.
have a great week and go make a video.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.